start recording button and then start the stream. Welcome to Horsin Around, a dumbass cast with a new perspective because I finally set up my new computer in all its glory. We have 3, possibly 4 lovely guests if the 4th one would ever arrive. If you guys would like to introduce yourselves, though.
Hi, I'm Brad, and I was a finance major at one point.
Hi, I'm Jacob, and I was an economics major at one point.
Hi, I'm Braden. I could at one point be a political science major, but I was a computer science major. I don't fucking know. I'm gonna sound smart.
You're prepping to go back to school for poli-sci, right?
Yeah, I'm currently taking a couple classes at Temple University. So
there you go.
Wow.
You're a poli-sci major in the making.
Absolutely.
And I am a game design major, degree owner. So I have the least expertise in this area of what the fuck has been going on over the past week. But yeah, so basically at the end of last week's Horsing Around, we kind of just touched on the development of this whole GameStop stock buying escapade that r/Wall Street Bets was going on. And over the past week, it's kind of gone fucking insane. It's gone nuclear. So that is probably going to be mostly what we're talking about today. I guess we should probably start off just to sort of quickly summarize what's happened. I don't know if I should ask Brad or Jacob to explain. I mean, both of you know what's going on better than I do generally, but if either one of you just want to give like today or like a fucking explain to a 5-year-old explanation of what the hell's happening with all this shit, just to start us off, I think.
Do you want to take it?
Yeah.
Okay, bet. Jacob.
Oh, I heard. Do you want me to take it?
Oh, you want me to? Okay, yeah. I'll read off that thing I told Yash.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just pull it up. Where even was it? So basically, what happened is there was this hedge fund, Melvin, I believe, and what they did was they shorted a stock, which means that they sell it at a higher price with the expectation that the price is going to go down. And when the price drops down, they gain that difference because they buy it back at the lower price.
Yeah,
so like any money in between, they're going to be making.
When you say sell it, it is specifically they like sign some type of they basically make a deal with the stock owner to be like,
yep,
I will give you back these stocks later. And
right,
so
they say I will buy it back at X date, and the reason they do that is they expect the price is going to go down, and then they expect that they're going to be making the difference in profit. But what happened was they publicly disclosed that they had shorted 140% of GameStop stock, which is more than they actually have. So now what's happening is Reddit found out about this through their financial documents, and they decided that they were going to make the price go to the moon, so that instead of the hedge fund making the difference, they now have to pay for the amount that the price went up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so there's a huge fight going on right now.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but like one of the interesting things about shorting is that the most you can make is 100%, right? But you can lose any amount of money.
Infinite amount. So what they did is called a naked short, which means that they didn't place a counter bet in order to limit their losses.
Okay.
Because GameStop has been struggling, and they just figured that this stock's just going to collapse, and we're going to make a lot of money off of it.
Now,
but,
and like
it didn't work
it's
out
not like
that way.
It's not like GameStop actually like it just magically happened. Like the consoles just came out this
this is
the
a big
generation
console
just
release.
came out. They just brought a bunch of people onto their board who are apparently like well known. So it wasn't just like a bunch of people in a room or on a chat room going like like the stock naturally started going up, and then they just like kicked the ball down the hill.
Yeah. I mean, the whole thing with r/Wall Street Bets is it's just people being like, here's why you should invest in GameStop stock. And that's basically what Brad was saying is like, okay, they got these documents saying, that this hedge fund was doing this thing. And then somebody, I guess, just made the argument of like, hey guys, we should all invest in GameStop stock. And then it just kind of catapulted.
There was a guy called Deep Fucking
Value
who has been posting how much he's held of GameStop for like.
He made millions of dollars, and he posts it. He posts how much he's made.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
I don't. I guess what I don't understand from that explanation is how can you short more stock than there is available to be shorted? Like.
So I'm not entirely clear either, but I think what's going on, and anyone can correct me if I'm wrong, if they know more about this, is that what they do is they short the stock and then they borrow some back and short it again.
What?
Right, right. There's a lot of
it's like
confusing.
imagine you there's one share, right?
Yeah.
And you borrow that share and then you sell it. And then you borrow it again from the person who bought it.
Oh, and then, like multiple,
right? Yeah,
multiple
so
levels of shorting.
So now there's one share. There's one share that exists like out in the world.
Yeah.
But you've made multiple bets
on that one
using that one share.
I see.
And then my understanding is that these hedge funds then doubled down and shorted further to try to drive the price down and scare people off when they saw that the stock was going down. So now they have multiple options contracts, which is what this is called, that are going to expire in the future.
Which means they have to then buy them back to return
them. A lot of them expired yesterday, though, right? Like yesterday was
that was the number I saw, but I didn't see a huge spike from it.
Well, also you have to remember that they expired on Friday,
right?
And that's at the end of the trading day.
So then Monday.
So Monday is theoretically when it could happen. It could happen sometime later next week. Once again, like we said, it all depends on when these options go. Because remember, like you said, this is not a one-off instance of like, yep, all of the options were due at the end of the month. It's more of like, yeah, a good chunk of those options were probably due at the end of the month. But also we know that, you know, there was more trading going on, more short selling, more shorting with the assumption that eventually the stock will go back down.
Another thing that happened, I guess, is that all these hedge funds have holdings of like, you know, your really safe and non-volatile stocks, right?
Yeah.
And because they have so much risk now because these GameStop stocks are so expensive, I guess the banks that they borrow from have like changed their like how much money they have to have in the account to like continue holding these loans.
Yeah.
And so they're having to sell off a lot of their stock that they have in other companies.
Stock.
Well, it's not just that. It's not like just like the banks, but it's also a good example is when you run a fund, your fund has a certain amount of value to it. And, you know, if you had a fund that was holding on to a lot of these GameStop shorts, the value of your fund has gone down. And so you need to make sure that you have money on hand in case someone like the banks, someone like your investors, just the whole plethora of people tied to your fund don't show up one day and are like, yo, what
Give
the
me my
fuck's
money.
going on?
Yeah.
Give me my money.
I'll run on the hedge funds.
Yeah.
And I think that's actually playing into why the general market has gone down, because they're selling off all their regular stocks, which is driving the price of the general market down.
Oh, okay.
I think that was the Dow.
I mean, it could also theoretically be that, look, a lot of the central regulators and, you know, the higher branches are not being like, yeah, we'll fucking pump money until the end of the sun, and so, you know, people are. I mean, that's the thing. Like I was talking to Brayden about this last night. There's also the aspect of this also like the word bubble has shown up a lot more recently because of this, and it's like, yeah, this entire market for the last, you know, 9 months has been a bubble. Because we're in one of the greatest economic downturns of all time, and the numbers.
The stock market is completely disconnected from.
Well, to be fair, like I think anyone who like tries to look at the market rationally is going to like say like, how long has it been since the market actually represented the values of companies?
But I guess that's the point I'm getting at, is that, you know, a lot of people come out and they're saying like, oh, fundamentals, and I'm like, the fundamentals don't matter. In my opinion, they haven't ever technically mattered.
I mean, they probably mattered when like you.
I mean, they matter to some extent because it is the belief in which most other people make their decisions.
Well, yeah, I mean more like when there were dividends on the most popular and expensive stocks on the stock market, and, you know, when everyone who works at Ford has Ford stock. You know what I mean? Like we're going back 100 years ago to like 70 years ago, I think it made a lot of rational sense because, like, why would I own a stock that doesn't have a dividend in a company or in a company that wasn't at least working towards it, right? But now, like, I own Tesla stock. I don't ever expect to get a fucking Tesla dividend. That sounds fucking absurd.
What is a dividend in this context?
It's like they give you money.
They pay you for holding their stock.
It's a payout.
Okay.
So, like, if a company was doing well, they would, and they're so usually, at least in my understanding, usually dividends are on the based off of the price of the stock, right? And so, if your stock does well, your dividend goes up. And so, if you're getting paid for owning a stock, and the more the stock is worth, the bigger the dividend. There's good things and bad things about that, obviously. Like, but that at least makes sense why a company doing well would also have a good evaluation, right? Like, if it can pay the dividend.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah. But now that just doesn't exist anymore.
That's not, like, I think Ford still has a dividend, but like, Ford isn't also isn't like, you know, the most powerful, like one of the most powerful businesses in the entire country, right?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
they just can't afford to have a massive dividend.
Where are my Amazon dividends? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and that's kind of crazy. Like, there's like, obviously these companies, like, if you're a publicly traded company, like you have like, don't you have like a legal obligation to the stockholders? Isn't that like the law?
Yeah.
Why is it that, like, it is not seen as like, I guess, do these businesses just say like, hey, if we had a dividend, we wouldn't be able to be as valuable to our, like, I just wonder why did that change? Like, what?
I just looked it up real quick. I don't think companies are actually required to pay dividends at all.
Well, they're not required to pay dividends, but they are like, if someone has a stock in a company and comes asking for the money the company promised them, there is a legal requirement. Now, that legal requirement has tiers, and I can't remember the exact tier list because I learned in monetary policy, 2.5 years ago. But like, there are different levels of who gets paid when things go bad. Like, if someone comes and asks for their money, there's an order that people get paid.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it depends. There's actually different kinds of stockholders. There's preferred, there's common, and each one gets their own, like, one of them has voting rights, but the other one receives dividends first. Then they have a whole bunch of differences between them, and then there's even more layers within that.
Who made this shit up?
You were saying.
Who did this?
It's been a long time in the making.
How did we get here?
I mean, it's like, I guess, like, I'm kind of curious, like, the free market as just like a general concept is only in the last like 250 years, right?
As it is now.
It started
at least according to like how I've always been taught, is that it starts with the enclosure movement, or I can't remember the exact term. No, not the Dutch. It starts with I can't remember if it's called the enclosure movement or something like that. But as soon as medieval estates started consolidating land into, not like, oh, hey, this is sort of like public land we all got to use, and fencing off a big chunk of that land, saying, this is land I own. You can come and work on it if you want, but that means you're basically my employee, and that sort of stuff.
Okay.
Do you guys mind if I take a little tangent real quick? When you said the Dutch, that reminded me of a little finance story.
Sure.
Do you guys know about the Dutch tulip bubble?
Yeah, I had that open in another tab because I was going to bring it up.
Yeah. So for basically what happened is tulips, I don't remember exactly how, but they became very, very popular in, like, what was it, the 1500s? Something around then. And what happened was everybody wanted them. So the price of tulips skyrocketed. And people were paying like hundreds of dollars for like different colored tulips.
Yes, and then, it was called Tulip Mania.
Yep, and then someone realized, this is stupid. Why are we paying this much money for this? And the bubble just crashed.
Somebody just woke up one morning and was just like, hey, wait a minute. What?
Have you not heard about this, Braden?
No, I really haven't. Wow.
Yeah, it's one of the like
one of the first bubbles.
Yeah, like I mean, one of the first bubbles on record. I'm pretty sure that throughout history there have always been
undoubtedly
instances where a bunch of people wanted something without, like it's all once again like it's all speculation. Yeah. Everyone was assuming that the price of tulip would go up, and you have to sell out at the right time.
You just triggered me.
I know.
Hard.
I just triggered you so hard.
At the height,
I have the price of a single tulip bulb. It was 4,000 to 5,000 florins.
Yeah.
And at the time, florins were gold coins with uncertain weight and quality, so they can't really compare that to today's dollars.
Yeah. But the article that I have that's giving this like brief history of it also equates it to 10,000 guilders, which is apparently equal to the value of a mansion on the Amsterdam Grand Canal. Which,
for one tulip.
For a tulip.
Think about that.
What the fuck?
Yes.
That's fucking insane.
So, all things considered, this whole GameStop thing is relatively contained. It's tame compared to that.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it probably is in the grand scheme of things, but
and that's the thing. It's like that's not even with like an actual like well-established market. That's like literally a pop-up market that existed, and people just went fucking nuts
for tulips.
Like that's the thing. Is like I don't know. Braden, go off on the thing I triggered you about because I already
this
know.
Fucking guy on CNBC was like, we can't have speculation in the market. Like he was like, I can live with speculation, as if he was like some fucking some guy, because he could accept at least some, but he was like, illogical speculation.
What is
speculation
illogical?
Without reason.
Oh my god.
Who are you? Like,
do you have to submit every stock buy with a reason for it, and then the fucking people that manage your account have to look at it and be like, yeah, that's a good reason, or no, that's a bad reason.
The short that the hedge funds did is also speculation.
Yeah.
They're speculating that the price is going to go down.
Oh, the worst part to me is when like people are like talking about this, and they just like they act like there's no such thing as like people who day trade for fun.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's no one out there.
It is outside of their concept.
They're like it's like Magic the Gathering. I have friends who like they have a job, and then for fun they go to events, and they have a little like a few dozen $1,000 in Magic cards that they just play with, and that's the hobby for them. They go to an event, they buy cards for $8,000 or worth $10,000, they sell like $9,000, and then their collection gets slightly bigger, and then they made money. And for them, that's the hobby. I don't know why it's so fucking difficult for these people to understand that. Like I was listening to a podcast today, and someone was saying that owning stocks is like trading cards, and I loved that, because obviously I would love that.
Yeah.
But like the person was saying like when you own Tesla, that's like you've collected the Elon Musk trading card, right? Like now, if Elon Musk is like part of your identity, and like you identify as like as someone who supports the climate change or electric cars, or you just love the smell of musk, like you just like. That's how you do it. And I'm like one of those people. I cringe at a lot of things Elon Musk says, but like that future that he has in his head, I want that future. And so like me owning Tesla stock is how I like
represent
own a piece of that.
Yeah.
Like I like the stock. I like the stock. I like the stock. So yeah,
I mean that's the thing, is like you bring up Tesla, and that's the perfect example. Is like, do I think Tesla should be one of the most like highly valued companies of all time? No. but I don't know if these guys on Wall Street can get it through their thick skull that like, yeah, the fundamentals of this company don't make any sense. People just like the stock.
Someone said it on this podcast I listened to today really well. They said people's wanting that company to be real so bad it became real.
Yeah.
Like people were willing to invest their own money that they were making into a Tesla, into owning a part of Tesla, so that they like felt ownership in that.
Yeah.
Until Tesla existed.
Yeah.
Like obviously existed before that, but like
it had
being one of the most valuable companies on earth has certain benefits.
Yeah, right? just a few. Know? Yeah,
and so I think that's like.
I think that's just it. I think that's just the bare essentials of my understanding of the stock market. Is like, if you believe in something, then that is what you choose to invest in. Now, if you believe in wanting to make money, then you can just invest in whatever the fuck you want. But some people just want to invest in certain companies because they believe in them. So that is just as valid a reason to invest in a stock as any other reason, like whether it just be to try to make the most money or whatever.
I think the thing that people mess up is like, I think people like Jacob, you said it perfectly like earlier. Yeah. So I'm just stealing what you said. But like the fundamentals only matter because people think the fundamentals matter.
Yeah.
That's
we live in a society.
The only time the fundamentals actually matter is if the company ceases to exist. That's the only time the fundamentals matter.
That's really good. You can't be Blockbuster if you're even slightly better, you're fine.
Like that's the thing is like, I mean, but even Blockbuster,
they still exist, don't they?
Technically exists, and Blockbuster was one of the meme stocks that went up during the last week.
Yeah, that's what BB is, right?
No, BB is BlackBerry.
BB is BlackBerry. Blockbuster's still alive.
Okay.
Well, you can still buy Blockbuster stock, and that's one of the things. They're like,
who would fucking.
I'm pretty sure I heard it on a
Wait a minute. Are you sure about this? BLIAQ, Blockbuster stock price.
Oh my god.
Wow. Wait a minute. What?
What are we looking at?
This is news.
Why? It's up. It's up. It's up.
It's up.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, it is literally flatlined until like this week. That is insane.
And then it went up.
It
went from what was
it? It surged 1,400%.
0.002.
I should have gone back in time and bought millions
of Blockbuster stock.
Blockbuster shares.
God.
Oh my god.
I mean, that's basically what happened to Dogecoin. And
Dogecoin,
that's why I got Dogecoin.
How's Dogecoin doing today?
Dogecoin is still down. It's still going down, but
hey, you know, great time to buy in the dip.
Yeah, you know what?
I'm $20
for $20.
I'm $20 in, and I'm still. Let's see what my total return. I'm still doubled my money.
Honestly, I've been trying to open an account. As soon as I get one, I'll put it on Dogecoin. It's pretty low right now, and if it ends up going up, you know, $20 can turn into a decent amount of money. And if it goes down,
this is not financial advice. We are not financial advice.
We joke that this is a financial podcast now, but we are not financial experts.
I like the coin.
I like the coin.
But like, you know, I mean, we literally have just spent the last like 30 minutes talking about it. I think the most quintessential financial advice is just that you buy what you think you should buy. Like, that's it.
Here's something my professors told me back in when I was in school. This isn't something they told me. This is a story that I'll go into that leads into what they told me.
Okay.
But there was, I forget which investment company it was, but they announced one time in an interview that the people who do the best on their website are the people who forgot their password and haven't logged in years. They beat out the people who are like trading every day and trying to time the market, which ties into what my professors told me, which is never try to time the market, because you're probably gonna end up in trouble if you're trying to be the one.
So what I should do is every time I think of something, I should do the opposite.
This is again not legal financial advice.
But yeah.
So one of the things they made note of is that a lot of times people get a fear of missing out. So they see this stock price, right? GameStop goes from $20 to $300, and they're like, I gotta get in on that, man. I gotta have some of that. Yeah. So they buy in at 300, and then it crashes back down to 20, and then they lose all that money, and they weren't part of the gain. So one of the things to watch out for is being too late.
Right. Yeah,
I thought it was too late at $70. Turns out I was fucking wrong.
That's the thing. You can't time the market. You don't know where it's going or what it's going to do.
Right.
But you can make guesses. That's what's so insane about Wall Street Bets is that they understand that. What you just said is they 100% know that. And that's the thing that the analysts and the hedge fund managers and all these fucking guys who keep showing up on CNBC, Fox Business, wherever, going like, well, who's going to be left holding the bag? Because there's always going to be someone who's going to do exactly what you just said. And
you read Wall Street Bets, and they're all saying, like, I don't care if I lose the money. Like, I made the decision to do this.
It is literally that Joker scene from fucking Dark Knight.
Except for one guy I saw. One guy I saw was like, yeah, I just put in 50,000, my whole life savings, and hopefully it keeps going up. And he put it in at like 300, and I was like, oh my god, man.
Yeah, that's that's Wall Street Bets, baby. Like that's the culture it invites.
Yeah.
And look, I've said this before. I don't agree with there's a lot of stuff I don't like about Wall Street. but like I'm just here to explain, like, this is the mentality these guys have. You gotta stop thinking in the way that
the game is changing.
Financial teachers taught you.
Yeah.
Like the game is changing, yes. Yeah.
You can't keep thinking about this how a boomer who's never been on Reddit has thought about it for the last 100 years. You gotta think about it in like the new age sense.
I remember I had go through like months at a time where I'll watch CNBC every day, and then I'll like won't watch it for a year. During one of my prior months in the madhouse, they had like this guy on who was like working at some like financial company, and the guy was saying like people our age and older, like maybe in their like mid 30s or younger, they don't buy stocks. Like they're running like this. They'll run like this big company, right? And they'll like their job is to like make money. Yeah. But they will avoid buying stocks that they have an ethical problem with.
Yes. Yeah.
Which has never, ever been a thing people cared about.
Right. Yeah.
At least they were talking about it. And I think that's really interesting.
Yeah.
That actually is like very strange, and I think
it's a sign of it changing the times. During one of my last classes while I was at school, we did a class where we had to manage a stock portfolio for 6 months, or it was supposed to be, and then school closed down, obviously, for coronavirus. So one of the things that we ended up buying was a green energy electric company. And that was the company that ended up carrying us to the finish line. We ended up taking first place in the competition because people like clean energy now. There was a big movement during the year towards clean energy. And it ties into what you were saying, is that people go for companies that they morally agree with.
Yeah.
Which is something that really hasn't happened before, and that's a tide that we're seeing change.
Yeah.
I think that's a good thing.
Sorry, what did you say, Braden?
I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, it's almost like the original intent of investment in public trading is for the public to be allowed to put money into ventures they see as beneficial. And hey, guess what? How the society deems your company being beneficial has changed, and so therefore, like that's the point. Is like society has the public market to like that's the thing. Like I listened to a clip about someone being like, what are you guys talking about? The stock market is not about its original intent, which is opening up companies to be allowed to easily access funds from the public to spearhead expansion, research, and growth of the company. But that's not the point of the stock market. The point of the stock market, as it's developed over time, is how much money can we loot and how fast can we loot it? And now you have a generation of people who who don't really understand the stock market, but when they get into the stock market and they're like, yo, I lived through 2008 when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Fuck these guys. I'm going to make sure I'm going to try and make sure I'm going to put my money where my heart is, basically.
Yeah.
And that's what's happening right now. I see a lot of people citing 2008 as the reason why. I've seen comments saying like, I want to watch them burn. I lived through 2008. Like, I want revenge.
Yeah.
And that's
it's even more than that. It's not even like the adults who lived through 2000, which has always boggled my mind, where like, I don't know, like I've had conversations with my parents who had to financially live through 2008, but they're like, Jacob, I don't understand why you're so frugal and you're like worried the financial sky is going to fall tomorrow, like every day. And I'm like, it's because I literally lived through the part of the time period in my life where the financial sky fell over the course of a couple days. Like
Right.
that's why I'm paranoid.
Yeah.
And it took years to recover.
We're still not technically like yes, we've technically somewhat financially recovered from it, but we're like I don't know. That's the thing is like a lot of people talk about how
savings accounts have not
yeah, savings accounts have not recovered. Like how people interact with the market has not recovered. You know, trust in financial institutions has not recovered.
That is way down. That is still way down.
I don't think that's ever like I don't know. It seems like somehow I don't know how people regained trust in financial institutions after the fucking Great Depression, but they somehow got their credit back eventually. I guess with help through
wealthy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They became wealthy. That's how you do it. You had an entire generation of people become wealthy. Right? Like they became educated.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then they became wealthy, and that was it.
Yeah. And so, but now we're going through the same.
They got it just in time so that they could hit the century marker. They were like, we got to keep the cycle rolling. Come on.
Yeah.
No, but really, if you think about it, right? Like if you were a child, right, in the Great Depression, you probably came of age during World War II. You fought in World War II, or you were married to someone who fought in World War II, most likely. They came back. They got the GI Bill. They went to school, and then.
But it's not even some of those because you can still find like the silent generation folks still around who don't trust financial institutions, and you're like
they trust financial institutions, but they also don't put money in they put money under their bed.
Yeah,
right.
So it's not like it's
I would say it's their kids who benefited from what they were able to come back from, and then those kids inherited their generational wealth, and we're like, financial institutions are fucking great. Woo.
Yeah, but now there's again, like now that more average Joes that are, the massive working class that exists around the world, like they're getting more involved in this stuff, so they're starting to have more of a say, and it's fucking up the people that haven't really had to engage with them for so long. So
yeah, going forward, that's going to be a huge thing because when this hit the mainstream news, like now everybody's attention is on it, and people are like, how can I get involved in this? So we're going to be seeing a lot more average Joe investors getting into this.
Yeah.
And
I love the I just want to show the thing that Lul sent in the chat of this fucking picture of CNN pulling up Reddit memes from r/Wall Street Bets, and it's just it's so surreal.
Translator. Jacob sent me a great article that's like a translation of Wall Street Bet terms
from CNN.
Yeah.
They had to post an official article.
Shit in there.
Oh my god.
Diamond hands. To the moon. Rocket ship.
God.
I mean, I think the other thing is like, as most of us know, the generational wealth has also stopped passing down because a lot of that is accumulated by very old people who now live longer because of all the medical innovations we have.
And they hold on to it. They don't pass it down.
Well, I mean, going back to that whole Great Depression thing, they don't want to lose, like, that whole era taught a generation of people, like, hold on to what you have because it could.
No, but that's not it. That's not it at all.
I don't agree.
I don't agree. Yeah, that's not it. Those people would say, I'm going to hide this under my mattress, and then I'm going to tell my grandchildren to hide the money that I leave after I'm dead to hide it under their mattress. The distribution of wealth is because there are a bunch of fucking old people in positions of power who don't leave, and there's no space for all of these kids to gain upward momentum. So everything's stagnant. Also, you have additionally, kids don't have the wage growth over the last several decades has been stagnant, and so therefore, these kids don't have the extra while inflation has gone up. So these kids are not making more money despite things costing more.
Right.
They're making less.
So they're making less money, and so therefore they can't build up their financial base at the bottom of it. Like the only reason I can afford the place I am living in now is because I lived with my parents for almost 2 years.
Yeah.
And didn't spend any money on rent. Like that's the only way I was able to create the financial safety net I have in order to even afford living with like 4 roommates.
Yeah.
Like,
it's fucked up. And like, yeah, I definitely wouldn't
like,
have been able
I hate to boil it down to me. Sorry to jump back in.
I was just gonna say, like, the only reason, like, on the same page that I'm able to be in a position I am now is because my parents were willing to put out some of their money to help put me through college and stuff like that. And, you know, it's just not something that, like, even some parents that have that money are just like, no, you gotta pick yourself up by your bootstraps, because they're so stuck in, like, the old mentality of, like, oh, I could do it, so you can, so I'm not giving you any money. And it's just like, that is incredibly fucked up.
During my graduation dinner party, me and my parents got into a fucking huge fight with my grandparents, where we were trying to explain to them, like, they literally hit us with the, why don't these kids just get a summer job? And they're like, you don't fucking like, that what was hilarious is that, like, my parents are more conservative than me, but they've come a little bit further left, especially in the last 4 years.
Right, that would tend to happen.
But, yeah, that's pretty easy.
Yeah, but so one of the things is like, they were trying to explain to my grandparents. They were like, no, you guys don't understand. We know how much the college costs. We were helping pay for the college during this entire time. Don't tell us that college is still like, oh, why don't they just go and get a summer job? When like, it's me getting a summer job, and my dad having his full-time job, and my mom having her part-time job that is paying for their 3 kids to get into college.
Yeah.
Like,
right.
It's fucking insane. Yeah. So it's
I'm hoping for some student loan cancellation personally. That's what I'm holding out hope for.
Hasn't Joey kind of put a big L on that?
No, actually.
Like, the problem is, like, would you put like, okay, so, like, would you want to cross the board, like, cancellation? Just every single
person? What I've seen that he threw out is that he said he was thinking about doing 10K per person.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Yeah. So that would help me greatly personally.
I guess for me, like, the thing I see is, like, if you look at the people who have it, like, what's the numbers? Like, what percentage of all money owed to the federal government is owed by people who are getting a master's or higher? It's like,
let's see if we can find it. Let's see.
We're all Googling it at the same time.
Yeah. Whoever gets there fastest.
54% of college attendees taking on debt, including student loans to pay their education. Average amount of student loan. This is from Investopedia 2020 statistics and outlooks. This is just the first one, so someone can cross-check this with.
I see 56% as well. That's from 2019, and it's up from 49% in 2016. So it has increased over the past.
With the average amount of a student loan debt per borrower being 37,584.
Could you drop a link to
that?
I
think 10,000 would be a big boon for anybody who has the loans.
Yeah, I think 10,000 is fine. I guess, like, to me, it's like there's a lot of whales, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
as someone who disagrees with former President Thomas Jefferson on many things, and many things vigorously, the one thing I do agree with him on is college should function as a coming together for each individual state to educate its growing populace in higher education, and that should be done freely and provided by the government.
Yeah, that's different. I mean more like today, if there's a lot of people who owe money where they owe a disproportionately larger amount, and the income that they will have afterwards is also disproportionately higher. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got you. But I think that's the thing is like, but like that's one of the arguments. Like that's something I'd be willing to negotiate on. Is like, if you come at me with, let's tailor this depending on the individual, then I'd probably be more like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, like that's why I think 10K is fine though, because it's a small enough amount that like you're not paying off like 200,000 for a doctor.
Yeah, but it's also big enough.
Yeah, to have a significant impact on someone's life.
Yeah. Could you guys drop those links that you found in the Horsin chat, just so I can pull them up on my end?
I remember.
Yeah. 1 sec.
When I was back in the old days, when I was applying to college, I got into New York University, and they were like, "We'd like $80,000 a year, please." And I was like,
Yeah, but like it's like that's like there's like an actual like I think the market doesn't work perfectly for college. There are obviously a lot of flaws, like partially like the fact that you have to take on loans means that like there's less like, I feel like there's a delayed impact on your choice financially, if that makes sense. Like
you don't have as much wiggle room with your finances. Is that what you're saying?
I did not understand the impact of price on my choice. Does that make sense? As an 18-year-old, barely 18-year-old child, barely, you know what I mean?
Right.
I was not able to like. There was not a. I forget what Jacob said the other day. Like there is not a the education
information asymmetry.
Yeah, there's an information asymmetry. Thank you, Jacob.
You would put it, yeah.
You do not have all of the information to know, especially for a good. I forget the exact terminology for this good, but it's like an after knowledge good or something like that, where like you can only know the value of this after
you've gotten it.
It's one of the main arguments about healthcare and like health insurance and all of that is because, hey, did you know that most people are unable to determine how important a medical procedure is for themselves?
Yeah,
until afterwards, or how good.
What is the value of your life?
Yes.
No one is going to be able to answer that question. Honestly.
Well, they're going to be able to answer it very quickly. It's going to be anything so that I don't die.
Yeah, so that's why it fails. But I think with college, it's like there is an information asymmetry, but at the same time, like you have parents who can be like, "Yeah, we're not going to do $80,000 a year. We're going to go here instead." But so I don't know. Like if you didn't go to that school because it was too expensive, then the system worked correctly, at least in my mind.
I did not go to that school because it was too expensive.
Yeah, so then that's fine. That's they missed out on you and accepted someone else, which is also a problem.
I mean, the real cascading problem is that an efficient system of education, and I would argue it's not. Even though that system of the price was too high, you didn't go there, and so they missed out. It is technically kind of the point.
It's still flawed because like the demand is so high that there's just someone behind you in line who's willing to pay that price, which is true, I guess, in every market. Like there's you lower,
but not. I would say not in every market because at some point it's just that in education that starting point, that y-intercept, if you will, in the supply and demand graph is so astronomically high.
Yeah.
It's the price the price of education is or the demand on education is inelastic, I should say.
Yeah.
It is
it does not change significantly when you up the price more and more, because you will always have more people who will say I would like to be able to afford a middle class lifestyle.
Yeah, and you need a college education for a lot of jobs these days.
Especially when the U.S. government has incentivized people to take on loans to pay for prices that are ridiculously high.
Yeah,
which is also that's like why it's like kind of fucked up, right? Like,
the
U.S. gives out loans so freely that it's like much more difficult for the market to correctly adjust, I guess, prices.
Yeah.
There's really no incentive to lower prices because people always just pay more.
Right. They take on those loans in order to afford it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they at the end of the day, it's like I want to have a decent, I want to get a good, like, not low income job or whatever, and so to get that you need like a college education for that. And so like, for like a lot of modern jobs, you just need a college education, and so then they can be like, all right, we're just gonna hold the prices, like we're all generally going to agree to hold the prices kind of high unless you're going to like community college or whatever.
Price fixing.
Yeah.
Sort of, but like there are, I think the real problem is that, again, there's like an information, what's the word to use? Not disparity.
Asymmetry.
Asymmetry. Because like, yes, there are colleges that are like effectively, they're not free, but there are colleges that are out there that are like very close to free, like ridiculously cheap.
Yeah, but then that
but no one talks like no one talks about that.
Yeah,
it's not advertised. Like your guidance counselor in high school isn't pointing you to go to that school.
Because they also like, it's weird because there's like a cycle, right, where you get into a school, you go through, you pay whatever they ask you to pay, and then when you get out, there is a chance that if you like the school enough, they will get you hooked on the fucking like, what is it, the alumni like mailing list that then gets you to donate to the school, which is then.
Have you donated to RIT yet?
God, no. They're not getting a fucking penny from me. I keep telling my mom to stop like donating, but they get something out of it.
No.
I don't know. They get some sense of pride out of it, and so they keep doing it. I can't.
Munson really out here fucking fleecing kids for all these cars. And your parents are like, but Munson, what if Munson needs a lunch down at Brick City?
Right.
1 month after I graduated, I got my first email from my alma mater asking me for a donation.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, dude, you get me an online graduation, and now you're gonna tell me to give you money?
Yeah, they act fast. They act stupid fast sometimes. It's fucking incredible. They want to get you
while you're like, I'm a big man.
Right. I have a degree.
So going back to like the cycle, so they can get people onto that alumni donation loop. So that's another source of income for a lot of these bigger schools. And some people like obviously like fucking with RIT, Austin McCord just made a ridiculous donation of like what, $500 million, like something crazy, or is it only 50 million? I don't know.
Fucking building after him.
Well, yeah. It comes with the perks of you get a building named after you and shit like that. But like,
I'm actually committing federal crimes and you get a building named after you. Allegedly.
What a fucking asshole. Have you guys ever talked to him?
I've not talked to him. So I've seen him once. I've seen him once at I think it was at 40th.
He interviewed me. I remember like, who the fuck is this guy? And then like he was just an asshole. He was like, you really need to learn about this. You should learn about this. We're doing this. I was like trying to talk, and then at the end he's like, hey, you should have been a bit more direct. I was like, well, you just talked the whole time.
Yeah, so for Brad and others, Austin McCord was this RIT. He wasn't even a graduate. He dropped out, didn't he?
Oh yeah, he dropped out.
Yeah,
but now he's an honorary.
Yeah. So he was I think he was like a computer science student or something. He dropped out of RIT.
He was a
biology major? Oh my god.
Biology major at RIT?
Well, yeah. Yes. I mean, we have a decent science
has a big science department.
Okay.
But he dropped out of that, and then he founded this company called Datto, which is basically like a data backup company that just is like supposed to secure your data that's on servers and then back it up to the cloud, or back it up to extra servers that Datto owns.
Big focus on supposed to. But
yeah. But anyways, so that company blows up, and then he comes back
thank God.
To the moon, as they say.
To the moon.
To the moon. And then so he comes back, and he's basically just another boy king. Like you know fucking Musk. Like that's pinnacle boy king. He's just another one of those. And as Braden has elaborated, total asshole. But he has a fuck ton of money, so now RIT is getting a building named after him because he donated that much.
They're into him.
Well, no shit. If somebody walks up to you and says, "Hey, here's $50 million. Could you put my name on a building, please?" You're probably gonna be like, "Yeah. Do you want me to suck your toes as well?" Like, Jesus.
That's not my first thought. Actually,
but you get what I mean. So like, that secondary income then can help propel the school to like more, especially if the people who graduate can end up in like high-paying positions where they can then donate more, and because of that, then they could be like, well, we are a prestigious school, so we're going to charge more, but look, you're guaranteed to get like a higher education or whatever, which then gives them more resources to, and like by graduating people that then start donating back to the school can then fund endeavors to make the school legitimately better, which then can be a legitimizing reason for why they're jacking up the tuition price.
Yeah, but you're assuming that they're investing that back into the school, and I know look, as someone who studied at RIT, I know that money. That money ain't paying for more tenders down at Brick City.
But I guess
let's just say that.
My point being that comparing those like private institutions to places like community college where it's super cheap, but they don't have enough funding from graduates giving back donations or whatever stuff like that.
Like they just don't have enough funding. Like we criminally underfund community colleges.
Yeah.
I'm lucky because I'm right next to Northern Virginia Community College, which I don't know how big it is relative to the rest of the country's community colleges, but it's definitely the biggest one around here, and is also like one of the best options in terms of community college I've ever seen. But once again, the only community colleges I can compare that to is this one and MCC. And so
not the best. Not the best.
That is, it was so.
When Rochester sends its college, they're not sending their best.
Yeah,
they're sending their worst.
It was very funny to me when I got up there to find out that there was a community college called fucking Monroe Community College, because back home in Jersey, Brad knows that we have basically the equivalent, which is just Mercer County Community College. So it's just MC3 versus MC2, and just happened to be a strange coincidence between the two towns. But
dude, I had a work project where we had contacts from MCC talking to us, and I was like, this feels like a conflict of interest. I can't talk to you.
I legally don't feel comfortable talking to you right now.
I'm looking for any reason not to communicate with you.
But yeah,
I mean, the other thing is, like, while community college definitely does help, like, let's also not kid, like, societally, like,
they're not valued.
They're not valued, even though they should be. Like, I agree, they should be, but also,
well, it's literally viewed as the budget college, and because of that view, like, that definitely helps to, you know, reinforce everything that is already true about them, and that doesn't help them get a better image. You know, it all kind of cycles back into itself in many ways. So it's just
for sure.
I mean, it's like, you can get a degree from even at NOVA, which is the shorthand for Northern Virginia Community College. Like, they're like, yeah, you can get a degree from here, but also we give you very ease of access to go to any Virginia state school after 2 years. And
right. It's kind of like a
go do that after the first 2 years, and then you get a big scholarship, so you don't have to worry about money when you go to the state school. And I'm like, you know, that's great. I agree with that, but also, like, that in it of itself is, like, kind of doing what Nick said, which is like, this is
just a stepping stone. It's not It's not real college, quote unquote.
Even though
I also think society, like, pushes you to believe that, like, college is supposed to be like a dorm. You're supposed to have that, like, dorm experience.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know about you guys. I loved it, but it was definitely 300% detrimental to my success as a student.
Oh yeah. But like,
I'd say that dorm life actually got me a lot of opportunities later down the line. Like, people I met actually ended up. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But as far as, I think you're right about the education aspect. Being in dorm.
Yeah, you know, some people have different strengths and weaknesses. I'd say I did not need the dorm experience to meet interesting people, although I certainly did. I probably
it's okay. I understand.
Shouldn't have.
Very large Pandora's box of your college.
No, I just think,
experience.
like, right now I'm doing classes online with and I love it. Yeah. Which I hated them in school. Like, when I was at RIT, I hated online classes, but I love it now. This is great. I just roll out of bed and I get signed onto my Zoom call. It's great.
It's
I
literally.
I don't interact with anyone. I can't stay up late going to fucking Mark's. Just go to bed.
Get those plates.
Awesome. I love it. Yeah. I have class I could not make a 9 a.m. class at RIT. Like, I just could not. It was not. I could love the class. It could be my favorite class I took at RIT. I wouldn't be able to make it.
It could have been the Civ 5 class.
It was 10 a.m. If it was at 10 a.m., it was a 50-50 shot every day. If I could make it. I'm not even kidding.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I try my best, and I really struggle.
Mm-hmm.
I have like 2 9 a.m.s down. I'm just like, this is not that hard. I
Yeah.
might show up 5 minutes late. Not a big deal.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, Nick, but I find that working from home is pretty solid too. You know,
I mean,
that experience of just rolling out of bed and then you don't actually work from home.
I have now, because of the nature that
I'm Nick for not working from home.
the nature of the stuff I'm working on now, I can work at home sometimes. So I have started to do that, and I do enjoy it. I feel like
they heard us joking about the war crimes on the podcast, and they were like, "All right, Nick no longer gets the skiff anymore. He can work from home."
No more skipping out. But yeah, no, I definitely enjoy it. I think, like, going back to the, you know, your experiences versus other people's, it's literally just different strokes for different folks. You just need to figure out what works for you, and it's hard to do that when the only thing that's being advertised as the true college experience is going to those dorms and like attending in-person classes, when that's not the only option these days. Like, it is a completely understandable and reasonable thing to just live with your parents while attending community college, or even take online classes like you are now. Like, that should be accepted.
I even know some people who just skipped college completely and just went into an industry where they could just start making money.
Yeah.
And as far as I'm aware, they're doing pretty well for themselves. Like
exactly.
the people that I know that did that.
But that's not...
I tried that.
Yeah.
It was not great. But I tried that.
Yeah. But again, you just gotta find what works for you, and it's just, the problem lies in the fact that you basically, unless you're hearing about it from friends of yours, it's like something that you don't really like. I know that back in high school, I was like, well, I have to go to college. I gotta get a degree, and so that's what I ended up doing.
I once floated the idea of like, well, I don't know what I want to do with my life, and I was fucking shouted at. Like,
me too. Yeah, I floated out, like, maybe I'll take a year off, and they were like, no, you're leaving. Goodbye.
Right.
Goodbye.
Yeah, and that's like, at that point, it's literally being reinforced by the people that you have to live under the same roof with, and it's hard to escape that type of influence. So
yeah,
you know, yeah. Like, I remember
those same people. I'm actually back in their house. They're happy to have me
again. Yeah, times change things when you fly the coop. Some people, empty nesting is pretty rough time for parents. So
Don,
I did that for 2 years.
You wouldn't know anything about that, would you, Nick?
Why?
You wouldn't know anything.
What do you?
Just imagine your mom.
Oh, I mean, she loves me. Like, my parents definitely miss me, and I'm happy to see them from time to time. But yeah,
that's what I meant.
Yeah. Like, I'm sure if I was like, hey, can I move back in, that would be no questions asked at all. And I'm thankful for that. I know that's not something that everybody gets. So,
yeah.
But you know, yeah. What was I gonna say? I don't know.
Can't do it.
I don't think there's probably a lot of stuff that needs to change, and I don't know what the optimal solutions are for any of that. But
don't worry, we have lawmakers to figure that out.
Yeah, trust in them, blindly trust in them.
Degree. That's why you get involved in local politics, baby.
Yeah,
that's how you enact change, baby.
Yeah. Start by talking, like, you know, having the conversations we have right now, and like helping other people to get into those conversations of like, call
your senator and or representative.
Dude, I tried that. Fuck that to me.
Well,
I don't want to hear about it.
You got Pennsylvania problems, which are their own.
I think the last time I tried calling my senator about something was the whole fucking FCC bullshit with
net neutrality. And he sent me a letter 9 months later.
Yeah. Oh, really? I got an email back. And he was like, thank you for letting me know. I also have your stance on this.
All right, cool.
Yeah, my guy was 9 months later telling me, sorry, it's a bit late, bud. I'm like, okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks, dude.
Imagine not being able to get into getting in contact with your senators, Mark Warner and or Tim Kaine, my boys from Virginia.
Virginia Kings.
Yes.
Those
Kings.
Anyways.
Oh, that's so funny.
I need to remember who my representative is, because since I moved, I can't remember if I think I'm still under Jerry Connolly.
Do you want to talk about something that I'm sure you haven't talked about because the world was on fire?
Sure.
World's on fire. How about yours?
It's still on fire.
Georgia has 2 Democratic senators.
Oh yeah. We haven't talked about that yet.
That happened this month.
Yeah,
it happened. it got overshadowed. It happened the same day as the day that the Capitol got.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
A lot of people haven't thought about that, but that's pretty crazy, right?
This has been like, man.
I don't know. It's pretty funny through me. I listened to the classic song "Marching Through Georgia," and
yeah.
When was the last time they had a Democratic senator?
Oh, probably.
I'm sure it was
time ago. It was before 1960.
Yeah, Jesus. It was around the time when the parties switched sides.
Yeah.
Definitely wasn't a black or Jewish senator. We can at least know that.
Yeah. It's been this month has been.
Oh,
I think people were sort of commentating on how every Wednesday of this month something insane has happened. Like first Wednesday of January, insurrection plus Georgia senators elected. Next Wednesday, second impeachment for Donald Trump. Third Wednesday, inauguration of Joe Biden as president of the United States. And fourth Wednesday, I think that's when Robinhood started to crack down on people.
Now, was it Wednesday? I thought it was Thursday.
It might have been Thursday, but like generally
around that time.
Around the time frame of last Wednesday is when things really started going insane with the GameStop stock.
So I'm very excited for next Wednesday then. I can't wait to see what we get thrown at.
What will February Wednesday hold for us? What kind of batshit insanity?
I've been waiting for a long time for aliens.
I don't know if the aliens would be a great thing to have happen right now.
Did you hear about the guy who was saying that he's in the the Galactic Space Force and that he's in contact with aliens and they don't think we're ready yet?
Yeah,
so they're
who
just
was that?
It?
Who was saying that bullshit?
I don't remember. I
do remember that generally happened.
Was that on a Wednesday? That might have been a Wednesday.
along with everything else going on, that kind of got swept under the rug. Believe it or not.
I can't believe that. I can't believe that of all things. It's swept under the rug. I'm shocked.
We are over an hour here, so
at the start of 2000.
Huh?
There were Democratic senators in Georgia at the start of 2000.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was when the election.
They lost the re-elections in 2004, 2005.
Why was that? That's crazy to me.
Oh, sorry, 2004.
Well, it was a close race in 2000, wasn't it? For like just the presidential race.
You know,
presidential race in 2000 was close. Yeah.
Oh, I bet Bill Clinton being from the South probably gave some points.
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
George H.W. Bush, unpopular.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What was I gonna say?
Oh, you're right, because it's a 6-year delay, so it would have been like 94, which is that's still a weird year. When did the Republicans take control of the House? What year was that? 92?
You mean
2010?
In the 90s?
Yeah.
I can't remember off the top of my head.
Because that was a big deal, right? I bet it's possible that there was like a bit of a pushback maybe in the Senate elections. Newt Gingrich.
Oh boy, I haven't thought about Newt Gingrich in years.
1992, Democrats lost 9 seats. But they retained.
So yeah, I guess it's possible that 1994 there was a pushback.
Yeah.
Before we wrap up the episode today, I do want to ask you guys, because we didn't actually really touch on it when we were going over the general stonks discussion, but you guys think Robinhood is fucked because they definitely are trying to manipulate the market?
They pissed off a lot of people. They managed to make everybody on both sides of the political aisle mad at them.
Yeah.
Which is incredible.
Yeah.
Like, I can't remember. When was the last time that even happened, that everyone was mad at one?
Probably 9/11.
Yeah, probably.
2008.
Right. So, and some people went down in the 2000s.
Donald Trump on January 6th. That was probably...
Oh, yeah.
That was probably the last time everyone got along.
Okay, it's been a while then.
Yeah.
It's been at least 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It has felt like forever.
Sense of culture-changing shift happened.
I obviously can't predict the future, but I feel like they might be in trouble. Like, legally, people are saying they're going to open
there's lawsuits already been filed. So
yep,
there's going to be congressional hearings.
And then even on top of that, the general people who were on the app are saying like, they froze me out when I had a chance to make money. Why would I continue using them after this?
Yeah.
I don't know. As someone who like watched that happen and then went onto the Robinhood account and bought Tesla stock, I don't know if that's really going to turn out to be anything.
I mean, you could always decide to transfer your stocks to anher brokerage in the future.
That's true.
That's not anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They've just
I'll
lost.
take those free stocks they gave me and move them over.
They've lost.
Free stock is GameStop.
Yeah, they lost trust with their user base. So that's.
I mean, the real answer is I think all of us should buy treasury bonds. That's where the money's at.
Yeah.
Are treasury bonds keeping up with inflation right now?
I can't remember. I'd have to double check. Treasury bonds, I mean, are no matter what, you're gonna make a little bit of money, but also like the point is that you're gonna make very little.
You make very little, but it's very safe. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was asking. That's what I was asking about.
In 30 years, the U.S. government will continue to exist, and they will pay me out these bonds when they exist in 30 years.
I don't know, man.
Actually, the Treasury offers specific securities that are actually protected against inflation.
Oh, do they? Really?
So they account for it. Yeah, it's called TIPS, Treasury Inflation Protected Securities.
Okay. Yeah, like.
Are those like even more secure? Those are.
Well, they go
like
with
the most.
Perhaps they are the most secure. This is not financial advice.
Fucking Civil War II Electric Boogaloo kicks off. Oh no, not my trust in the fucking U.S. National Bank.
U.S. Treasury.
Yeah.
Do you think we'll have more or less states in 50 years?
50 years?
I'm gonna say more.
Probably more.
More. We have more states now than we had 50 years ago. I'm pretty sure.
And they tried to secede 50 years ago.
Yes. When did?
More than 50, actually.
Yeah, a little, because Hawaii came in.
I think you're getting your centuries mixed up.
I got my centuries mixed up. Yeah.
Hawaii came
You're
in.
You're a finance major, not a history major. It's fine. It's fine.
There you go. But I mean, like, there's Puerto Rico that has been fighting for it for a while, right?
Yeah, Puerto Rico's the one that like pisses me
and
off.
And DC also been making.
I don't want DC to be a state. I'm anti-DC statehood. I really am. It just doesn't feel right. But I'm I'm a huge fan of Puerto Rico. I could see, like, I would be okay with DC becoming part of another state, but no state wants DC.
Right. Nobody wants to do that.
Which is
Maryland don't want it, and Virginia don't want. Well, Virginia can't have it by land.
If Texas
wants to claim DC, I have no problem with that. If Massachusetts can
love being part of Texas,
dude, if Massachusetts can own Maine, Texas can own DC. This is how that works.
We've given your other states too many options. Fuck you, I'm enacting the original Virginia land charter. We get everything west of the state.
Oh no! Wyoming's gone.
Wyoming's fucking gone. That's Virginia, baby.
Wyoming is Virginia 38 now.
It's all Virginia? Always has been.
I won't lie. I love looking at the old Virginia maps because it's literally like, yeah, we don't know what the fuck is west of here, but it's all Virginia, boys.
Dude,
incredible.
It's like the further away it's like this. Everything in this direction is Virginia.
How far does that extend, though? Does that extend like all the way around?
Manifest Destiny, baby,
ocean.
all the way to the moon. All right. Thank you guys for joining me. This has been a delightful episode of enlightening discussion. So thank you guys for watching. We're gonna be doing gonna be continuing that Soul Lock run with Kyle in a little bit. So tune back in for that. But until then, thank you for watching. Stay safe out there, and peace out.